NPR has launched a new team called Code Switch, covering race, ethnicity, and culture. That name refers to the practice of code switching, changing the way we talk when we talk with different kinds of people in different conversations.
This week, our Code Switch team is exploring the impact of the huge demographic shifts in America. They're focusing on Oakland, California, once a hub of West Coast African-American culture.
In the 1940s and 50s, its music scene was dubbed the Harlem of the West.
In the 60s, the city gave birth to the Black Panther Party, and by the 80s, blacks made up nearly half the city's population.
Today, Oakland is one of the most diverse cities in the United States, but some worry that diversity is diluting its black cultural identity. This is an issue affecting cities across the country like Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and Newark, New Jersey. NPR's Shireen Marisol Meraji has our story.
Oh, let me tell you about the new hairstyle. I'm telling you, she's a real hot.
10 years ago, you wouldn't see a trio of mustachioed white guys playing old-timey music and drawing a supportive crowd smack in the middle of Telegraph Avenue in Oakland on a Friday night. I know, I lived here back then. But now, that kind of thing goes down on the first Friday of every month. And that's where we are tonight, walking with hordes of people, eating food truck grub, popping in and out of hip bars and galleries. It's called First Fridays or Art Murmur.
Let me get an Art Murmur! Art Murmur!
And it takes place in a part of Oakland that was once called downtown, but after redevelopment is now uptown, Oakland's new entertainment district. Chris Riggins performs stand-up comedy at the street festival every month.
This is very new Oakland. It's new Oakland, but the only issue right now we're having is getting new Oakland to accept old Oakland.
You hear that a lot. New Oakland versus old Oakland. Riggins explains.
When I say old Oakland, what I mean is really the people that were born and raised here that often get forgotten, and that's basically really your black and brown people in Oakland, because right now we're having a big gentrification. A lot of people that aren't from Oakland, that wouldn't come to Oakland 10 years ago, are now moving to Oakland.
And the people from old Oakland, they're moving out. Parts of Oakland that were affordable are being revitalized, gentrified. People are leaving neighboring San Francisco because the rents are crazy high. That's pushing Oakland's rents up. But violence is also up. The murder rate here jumped 22% last year.
Stand where you are, stay still, and be ready for the moment of silence.
Everything stopped for a moment at this First Friday to honor Keontae Campbell, an 18-year-old student shot and killed last month. 3/4 of the murder victims in Oakland are black, like Keontae. Those two factors, higher rents and crime, are triggers for the nearly 25% drop in Oakland's black population over the last 2 decades.
That's so funny because I'm one of them.
Dave Sweets Ward is an Oakland native planning his suburban escape. He doesn't want to raise his daughter around all that shooting. Sweets is like an old Oakland rep now that his dad, Sweet Jimmy, has passed on.
Let's say Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Let's just say Sweet Jimmy is the king of the nightlife in Oakland.
Sweet Jimmy Ward was one of the most successful bar and nightclub owners in Oakland for decades. King of the nightlife until 2006, when he sold Jimmy's, one of Oakland's largest black-owned and operated clubs.
He owned it. No renting, no leasing, all his.
Sweet Jimmy came from Louisiana in the mid-50s to work as a longshoreman. Many African Americans in Oakland have family who moved from the South to work in the shipyards. Longshoreman by day, bartender at night. Sweet Jimmy opened his first bar in 1969 on Telegraph Avenue. Back then, Jimmy's patrons nodded their afros and nursed cocktails while they listened to blues greats like Bobby Blue Bland.
They call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad.
And the bar's investors were Sweet Jimmy's cousins, Melvin and Huey Newton.
Huey Newton sprang to national prominence in 1966 as one of the founders of the Black Panther Party in Oakland.
Black Panthers and the blues. You can't get more old Oakland than that. But when I asked Dave Ward what his dad, Sweet Jimmy, would say about uptown Oakland in 2013, Ward says,
He couldn't say nothing, but I guess it's beautiful. But it ain't for black folks.
Oakland, how you feeling? You feeling good?
Later, on that same Friday night in Uptown, DJ Z-Trip rocks the turntables at a club called the New Parish for a crowd that looks a lot like New Oakland. White, Latino, Asian, and black, but a lot less black. New Parish owner Michael O'Connor is a San Francisco native with Irish roots.
And by saying this is the New Parish, it's kind of like a new area of town.
O'Connor says Sweet Jimmy's building was empty for a couple of years before he bought and remodeled it. Old Oakland now houses New Oakland.
If we want to have a successful Oakland, it's got to be diversified. But I think that there's still, and hopefully there will be, always a dominant thread going through that fabric of African American and black culture.
And O'Connor told me Oakland has the potential to maintain its strong, diverse identity. He says it helps that what he calls identity politics are no longer in vogue.
We went through a period of time in the 90s, particularly where there was a lot of white guilt. I think that all races can overanalyze who they are and what they are. But when you're out having fun at a show at 11 p.m. on a Friday night, those things aren't that relevant.
I spoke with Oakland natives born in the 90s who never knew there was a Sweet Jimmy, don't know much about Black Panthers or the blues, and don't really think of Oakland as having a black cultural identity.
Occasionally, I hang out with a lot of Polys.
Antoinette Allen is a senior. On her high school campus, Tongan and Samoan students go by Polys, short for Polynesian.
Recently, I started listening to their music, and I can tell you I have a few songs on my phone that I just play nonstop.
She whips out that phone and starts searching for one of her favorites.
I love the song. I love the song. And I play the song for everybody, because, I love this song.
Antoinette is black, listening to R&B sung by Pacific Islanders raised in Oakland. The song's video was filmed on International Boulevard, and the vocalists croon to their love interest in front of a taco truck called Tacos Los Amigos.
I know the whole song.
This is Oakland in 2013. Some say it's the heart of multicultural America. Others told me it's losing its soul. But you get a sense that whatever it is, it's changing fast. Shireen Marisol Meraji, NPR News.